So here we are, meeting once again virtually, as we have the last few Sundays. And I just wanted to invite us this morning to think about a meditation that will help, I think, to both understand a little bit of what is happening now and to help focus in on a way in which what is happening can help us actually move and grow and become stronger. You know, the very first time we had our first Zoom service that Cheryl did several weeks ago, after having been apart from everyone for so long, I was looking at all of your faces coming up on the screen, and I was thinking to myself, and actually I was feeling in myself, I was feeling a connection to all of you. I don't know if that happened for all of you as well, but it was a wonderful moment of coming together. And it felt very much like we were all together, even though we were all in our separate spaces with our separate computers or whatever, bringing us into this one screen. But it made me realize, you know, we oftentimes have people come to our sanctuary and say, I can feel the light and the love that fills this sanctuary. And I know that years ago when we didn't have our own sanctuary, we said to ourselves, you know, the church is not a building, it's the people, it's the community. And what I think we're being able to realize now, during this time of physical separation, is that we are not apart. We are connected. We are connected just as we would be if we were here in the sanctuary together. The space really is not a limiting factor to being able to tune in and to feel that sense of being together, that sense of oneness. And so I would like to do our meditation first this morning and invite you all to close your eyes if you feel comfortable doing that. And imagine yourselves sitting here with me in the sanctuary that we have shared together so many times. And just allow yourself to just sit back on the pew that you're sitting on. Allow yourself to let all of your physical self just come to a place of rest. Allow yourself to imagine the stillness that we know always falls here when we are all quiet together. For we are together in this moment. We are together in spirit. We are together in our hearts. And we can feel that same sense of deep peace, that deep sense of joining together in the silence that we feel when we are in one place. And so we feel that peace, that stillness, that togetherness now. Allow yourself to open your heart to the energy coming from all of us as we share our love with each other. If you wish, you can place a hand on your heart to help focus on the energy that is bringing us together. Say with me, and I will say it twice, I connect my heart with every other soul in this moment, in this service with me. I connect my heart with every other soul, every other person in this service with me. Open to that widening connection and allow yourself to feel the power of connection. This connection is here in this moment. This connection is here without any regard to the actual space that we are in. For when we come to this place of peace and connection within, space drops away, and we are all one. We are all connected. This closeness and connection can be yours anytime, not just this moment when we are all here focusing on each other, but any time that you come to this place of peace within. For this is us connecting to the divine within ourselves. This is us connecting to the divine that we share with each other. This is us connecting to the infinite divine that is always there. And this divinity is always ours. So breathe it in. Remember how this feels. Know that our Unity family is together, that we are strong. Remember how this feels, and know that you carry this within you all the time, and that you can come back to this place of stillness whenever you wish. And it is so. Amen. Well, welcome back to your own spaces, to this virtual space that we are sharing. You know, I have been struggling a bit these past few weeks. I don't know about you, but I have been struggling with the feeling of being a bit lost, of being a bit displaced and off balance, losing track of time. I'm afraid I have been spending quite a bit of my time reading news stories about what's happening with the pandemic, sort of feeling like I should know what's going on, but then getting lost in it and spending way too much time tracking it. You know, it's easy to feel disconnected and it's easy to feel lost right now because we are living a life very different from the ones that we had lived up to recently. And as I was thinking about all of this, particularly in preparation for speaking with you today, I realized something about myself. And of course, you all know this about me. My greatest strength is being face-to-face with people and, dare I say, giving hugs. That's who I am. And it's just been a great challenge to think to myself, oh, how can I be in the world and not be able to do that anymore? But I think, as you all probably felt just now in the meditation, we have been physically together. We have been sharing our presence with each other here in the sanctuary and when we see each other in other places. But it came to me that those are all kind of like training wheels experiences for understanding that we are really all one without any space being taken into consideration. That oneness that we are striving to reach and to understand about each other and about how all of us are connected. This is an opportunity right now to be able to say, oh yeah, we don't need those training wheels of being in the same space anymore. We can feel that oneness even now, even better in some ways, by knowing that we don't need the space, that we have moved to a level where, yes, we can feel that connection without the training wheels of being together. What a great idea. I just thought that was fun. Anyway, so Viktor Frankl was talking a little bit about how humans deal with situations where all of their power seems to have been taken away. And many of you may remember Viktor Frankl was a fellow who survived the Holocaust. He was in 3 different prison camps in Germany. And he went on to become a very renowned psychologist. I think he was a psychiatrist. In any case, he has several interesting statements I want to share with you today. But the first one is this: when we are no longer able to change a situation, we are challenged to change ourselves. And that is indeed a perfect lead-in to the theme of this month, which is connecting with power. Charles Fillmore has defined power as several things. And his first statement, I think, is the most powerful statement about power. He said, "The mind and the body of man have the power of transforming energy from one plane of consciousness to another." Transforming energy from one plane of consciousness to another. We are powerful beings. And no disciple can do any great overcoming work without a certain realization of spiritual power, dominion, and mastery. Without power, one easily gives up. We give up to temporal laws, to man-made things. The psychic atmosphere around us is filled with thoughts that are not in harmony with divine mind. And these psychic thoughts are legion, and to overcome them, one must be on one's guard. This means that we should quicken our discernment and our ability to choose between good and evil. The wisdom of spirit is man's through the all-knowing and all-discerning power of spirit within. And we need never fear going wrong if we listen to our divine intuition. Therefore, do not fear to develop your power and mastery. They are not to be exercised on other people, but on yourself. He that ruleth the spirit is more powerful than he that taketh the city. For today men are striving to acquire power through money, legislation, and man-made government, but they are falling short because they have not mastered themselves. So that's all Charles Fillmore on the concept of power. You know, power, as we know from studying other books at Unity, we have different levels at which power operates. There's power that operates at the level of the human self, which gives us the opportunity to have power over others, or conversely, to give away our power. And then there is the realization that we are creating our experience, that we have the power to create our experience because of the way that creation works. Creation starts with thought and moves to word and then to action. And we create our lives by knowing what we are thinking and choosing what we are thinking that leads to our words, that leads to our actions. So we realize that the power that we have is this power of choice. This power of choice to have mastery or dominion over how we choose who we are going to be and what we're going to do in the world. We can add to this our spiritual power. And when we add spiritual power, what we do is we allow for our guidance on how we decide what we're going to do. We allow for that guidance to come from within, to come from that spiritual place of quiet that we just shared with each other a few minutes ago. Because, we are not ruled by instinct and emotion. We do have the ability to rise above these automatic reactions and to choose how we will respond and to choose what life will bring us. That is our power. Our power is to be able to choose, and our spiritual power comes from being able to choose when we tune in to divine guidance coming from within. There is a description of power also in The 12 Powers in You by David Williamson, Galen Williamson, and Robert Knapp, MD. They describe it this way. You are a person of power. You are empowered by owning your power. What does it mean to own your power? We often give our power away. We disassociate ourselves from our power. We take our power and we put it out there by allowing other people to have power over us, by allowing situations to have power over us. And so we give our power away to others. And we need to remember that we have the power always to bring that power back to ourselves. If we feel as though we are powerless, it's because we have given away our power. How do we do that? How do we give our power away? Well, we give it away sometimes by seeing ourselves as victims, by looking to the external things around us and not realizing that the external is an illusion and that we, in fact, our lives are actually governed from within. We give it away when we compare ourselves to others and say, oh, I could never be as whatever, as that other person is. We give away our power. But in truth, we are all powerful beings. In truth, we all have all of these potentials within us. And when we give our power away, we weaken ourselves. When we bring our power back, we give ourselves the gift of being the full, beautiful being that we are here to be. So how do we connect with our power? The 12 Powers in You suggest that one way to connect with power is to spend time in meditation and quiet and going within. Another is to use affirmations. Affirmations and words that reinforce our understanding that this is who we are, and guarding against using words and expressions that steal our power from us and give it away to others. Viktor Frankl, again, had several things to say about power. He said, everything can be taken from a person but one thing, and the last of the human freedoms, and that is the freedom to choose one's attitude in any given set of circumstances, the freedom to choose one's own way. And he said also, between stimulus and response, there is a space. In that space is our power to choose our response, and in our response lies our growth and our freedom. So yes, we have the power to choose. We have the power to remember that we are divine beings, the power to go within, to realize our oneness with divinity, our oneness with each other, that we are all the same, that we are all in this together. And when we connect with that divine power, we are indeed powerful beings for healing and light and love. Well, all of this is all things we could have talked about at any point in our learning about power, but we have a particular challenge in front of us today with this pandemic. How does this fit in with all that we know about humans and divine power, and where are we in all of this? And I'd like to share with you some things that I found about a month ago in a broadcast that Neil Donald Walsch did. Some of you may remember Neil Donald Walsch is the author of Conversations with God. And he recorded a short piece of himself talking about conversations with God and the way it connects with this pandemic. It helped me a lot to get a bigger perspective on what's happening, and so I'd like to share that with you now. As Neil Donald Walsch said, we are not only creating our own life path in the way that we use our own personal power, but we are also collectively creating our experience here on earth. Our collective creation serves our collective agenda. And what is our collective agenda? Well, we know from being students of Unity that our own personal agenda is to grow and evolve and become the very best Christ being that we can be. We know that our agenda is to keep becoming better and better at living from the presence within, at being better and better at living from the love that we know we are. Well, it turns out that our collective agenda is the same thing. That collectively, all of humankind is moving in that direction, is moving in the direction of trying to become better at learning and understanding and being the best that they can be. Abraham Lincoln said in his first inaugural address, "We are not enemies, but friends, being touched by the better angels of our nature." And indeed, that is what's happening all around us right now. We have seen people touched by the better angels of their nature, howling at 8 o'clock in Missoula in support of all the medical folks here in Missoula. We've seen them in other places in the world, in food banks, giving food to each other. We've seen them checking on their neighbors. We've seen all of this outpouring of care and concern that is elevating everyone around the world to being able to, as Abraham Lincoln put it, to be touched by the better angels of our nature. Making masks, turning distilleries into hand sanitizer manufacturing plants. All these things are evidence that we are responding from our heart, that we are helping each other. And this is all at the level of our human experience. But what's happening at the level of our spiritual experience? As Neil Donald Walsch said before, we are collectively creating our experience, and we are collectively creating our agenda. Well, I thought, let's check in with Louise Hay. Louise Hay, you all may know, is a woman who for many years studied how people needed to heal and realized, of course, that the healing that they needed was coming from something, a spiritual need inside of them that was manifesting in some particular physical form. And so I went into the book about You Can Heal Yourselves, and I looked up what it is that she had found were the case with breathing and lung problems and pneumonia. So this is just amazing when you think about our collective consciousness and about our creating collectively what we need to heal. The difficulty that she found for breathing and lung problems is this: depression, grief, fear or refusal to take in life fully, not feeling worthy of living life fully, not feeling the right to take up space or even exist. And for pneumonia, desperate, tired of life, emotional wounds that are not allowed to heal. I think about our country, about the opioid epidemic. I think about all these things that were happening before this pandemic hit, and I think to myself, we are striving to heal these things. We are striving as a culture and as a world and as a collective consciousness to move to the higher level. And these things are things that we need to grapple with right now. The affirmations that she has for these are, it is my birthright to live fully and freely. I am worth loving. I have the capacity to take in the fullness of life. I lovingly live life to the fullest. I freely take in divine ideas that are filled with the breath and intelligence of life. This is a new moment. This is a new moment. This is a moment of transformation. Transformation for our collective consciousness. For we are all one. And we are, in ways that are just amazing in this moment, being able to learn very important things right now. You know, there are 3 major pieces of lessons in the Conversations with God. The first one is that we are all one. And this pandemic has shown that so amazingly, because this pandemic does not discriminate between who you are, whether you're what race you are, whether you're wealthy, whether you're poor, whether you're black, whether you're white. Everyone is struggling with this in the same way. It is affecting us all the same way. And so we are all one in this pandemic. I've even seen major news channel broadcasters talking about the oneness that we all are. So who would have guessed, you know, several months ago that oneness would be so widespread as, yes, we are all one. The second thing from Conversations with God that Donald Walsh points out is there is enough. And when we think about there is enough, we think about how many people everywhere are just giving and giving to each other to make sure that everyone has food, that everyone has what they need. And the third one that he has is to see the perfection in everything. We had our chaplain meeting earlier, and Cheryl reminded us that we live in a friendly universe, that there are good things coming out of all of this. One of the most amazing things that I can see that just has warmed my heart is how clean the air and the water has gotten. I don't know if you've all seen the emails and the Facebook posts, but the waters of Venice are crystal clear now. And the distant mountains that surround the Los Angeles Valley are sparkling clear in the distance, and people can see them for the first time in years. We are being shown what it is that a planet would look like if we were able to pay attention and to figure out how to move forward without the kind of pollution that we've been creating in the past. So all of these things are ways of helping us at this higher level of spiritual connection to use this as a new moment, to use this as a place to envision a way of moving forward from here that is different from where we've come from, that is taking us to a higher level. Because each one of us, every one of us in this meeting today, we are what I would call and what others have called, we are light workers. We are light workers because we have begun the process of awakening to the truth of who we are, to bringing the light of understanding, the light of connection, the light of knowing the truth about ourselves to other people as we go forward. We are light workers, every single one of us, and it doesn't matter where on that path we are on the path, and that is what's important. Our book group was going to start reading a book called Energy Speaks by Lee Harris. And this is a book that talks about energy. It talks about how we are light bringers. We haven't had a chance to talk about it in our book group because, of course, that all came down before the pandemic hit, and we haven't had a chance to meet together. But I did want to share with you some of what they say about our light bringing in this world. Welcome, powerful people. You are all powerful, mightily so. And today you seek to be reminded of your own power, power that is your inherent right. You came here as powerful souls with messages to share with the world. You are light workers. We do not say this to everyone, but you are. It is the work of awakening in consciousness that you are doing, and that you deliberately came here to do. The planet needs as many of you as possible to create the consciousness shift that is now occurring. And how you can feel it. It can feel beautiful, wonderful, joyous, humorous, light, and fun. And it can also feel tortuous and wretched. The shift involves a whole spectrum of emotional states. And in order for consciousness to evolve, this full spectrum must be experienced. You are experiencing the spectrum at various levels of awareness. But the whole shebang, as it were, must be gone through consciously so that the shift can be completed. And this is why you are here. This period of time has long been designated for a shift in consciousness affecting the earth for many years to come. We speak to you now of personal power because that is what is required to navigate this challenging period. Do not feel that you are a victim of the energetic change occurring. Oh no, remember, you chose this. We say this to you with caring and affection, for we understand how difficult it can be as a human being when you experience pain and heartbreak, uncertainty, or fear that arises when stepping into the unknown. It can be challenging to maintain your understanding of the larger truth of what is going on, both in your own life and in the world at large. But choose to remember. Remember that you are a divine being. Remembering brings you back to the seat of your power and brings greater ease to your life experience. So we are light bringers. We are here at this time by divine appointment. And our collective power as light bringers has much that we can give to help this transformation occur. So I invite you to connect with your inner divine power in the days ahead. Take time to meditate, use affirmations, connect with that spiritual presence within. Connect with that spiritual presence as we did in the meditation, for it is always there within you. We are evolving to a higher level of understanding, and as those who have started on this path of awakening, we have a lot to offer. So don't be afraid of claiming your power. You know, I'd like to just read a couple things from the couple of daily words that have been present just recently. One of them from April 25th, just a few days ago. I take my mindful, intentional thoughts into prayer to access a higher consciousness of peace, joy, and abundance. Thoughts become prayers when I use intentional thinking to bring forth a better vision of this world. As my mind aligns more fully with my divinity, I embody my unique role and use my gifts, shining my light outward. My prayers support me and others as beacons of light during dark times. And again from this morning, centered in divine peace, I realize that every person is as much an expression of God as I am. As differences dissolve in a way that transcends human understanding, I come to know oneness with all the world's people. I let this realization shape my response to every person and to every situation. In an awareness of my oneness with all people, my thoughts, words, and actions contribute to peace and healing in the world. So now is the time. Now is the time to claim our power. Now is the time to use our power to help ourselves through these times, to help those around us through these times, and to be a part of that transformation that is here on the edges of our consciousness, propelling all of us forward. So thank you for joining us this morning.